Hi guys, welcome back to High Resolution Life. Last time, I apparently accidentally took a little hiatus because that's what happens after you play second piano for musicals and life kind of gets out of control a little bit. I took a little bit of a break, but we still had this podcast planned and he hit me up about it, so we're moving forward and getting this all put back together. We were doing special guest Stella.
Hey, Stella.
Are you well versed in comedy? Are you going to be a special guest? All right. This is what we're doing. Okay.
It's physical comedy.
Yeah. Honey, I'm sorry. We'll talk about this later, okay? Am I the only one who talks to the cats like that?
No, I talk to our cat all the time. I'm actually more of a cat person than a dog person.
I think we talked about that, but you like German Shepherds.
I like German Shepherds, but it's because a childhood friend growing up had German Shepherds, and I just got attached to it. It was so cuddly. So cuddly,
okay,
so
that was a good one.
So that's why I got attached to them, and I always wanted one.
Yeah.
And our last dog was very nice and everything, and she was. But this one we have now, it's friendly. It's so friendly.
Oh, I see your wife posting the pictures, yeah.
I have to, at nighttime, you can't take him outside unless you cuddle with him for a little bit.
Aww.
Like last night, I got him out of his crate before I take him out. He just goes out, he goes right into, my spot right here, into his head, and he just looks at me, and I just, petting him. He went into a trance state. And he just, so whenever I was like, hey, it's all right, that's all the time it was, all right, buddy, I gotta take you out, it's time to go to bed. And I just lightly put his head down, and he just
oh.
So I'm like, Ollie. He got out of it. She has COVID.
Yeah, sure. I've been calling it instead of, what do they call hot girl summer, it's my General Grievous summer. Because I've had this, allergy thing with the heat wave we've been having, so I've been mildly pissed off, just life, people are annoying.
You need to bring out your CPAP machine.
Yeah, right? No, actually just my inhaler. Where's it at? Good old trusty
Oh my god, you actually have an inhaler.
Yeah, I actually have one. I should probably use it real quick.
Holy cow. I didn't know you just always had asthma, or... Oh wow.
It's not a prop. It's real.
You sound like every smoker ever right there.
So yeah, it's just been my General Grievous summer. I'm just like, you know what? I'm angry, I'm coughing, I'm shaking my fist at everyone and making random grunting noises. I'm like, this is my General Grievous summer. But
mark it on your calendars, people.
General Grievous summer. But okay, so we're expecting an update on your projects, and you have your taping coming up. So tell us.
Last time I was with you, I was like, I guarantee you, it will not be on Friday, September 13th, and it is on Friday, September 13th.
Okay, how did that happen then? You were so adamant to not have that date, and now why did it change?
It was supposed to be at a different venue.
Okay.
And I won't say what venue, just out of courtesy. And they wanted me to get sponsors and censorship for things that I'm saying. I said, I talked with my producer, and I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, well, we need to find a different venue for you.
Yeah.
So what happened with that then, and then when I did Ridge's Comedy Farm show, Arts Altoona, I talked to the people there, and they said, yeah, we have Friday, September 13th opened up. I'm like, are you kidding me?
But the date!
I was like, yeah, I typed that date. Because oddly enough, this is my 13th year doing comedy. And so it's filmed me on Friday, September 13th.
I think 13, is a lucky number in Judaism, and I think double numbers is also double lucky. So,
I will say, now I shouldn't say it's fully 13 years. It's 13 years I've done it at least somewhere every year. But as far as actively grinding, God, that was 2016 until everything went to shit in 2020.
But you still, I think, whenever you first did an open mic or first put your jokes out there in front of instead of just your friends, that's really the year when you start. Even if
if you want to go back that far, second grade! And where I really made my first joke would have been 7th grade. We had a math class, and at the time, there was a gym teacher. Anyone out there might remember Mr. Sankey.
Mr. Sankey.
Mr. Sankey. He was Roosevelt High School. He looked, Richard Simmons passed away yesterday, so...
may his memory be a blessing.
So he looked like Richard Simmons, like that. Mr. Sankey did. Even the high shorts and the hair fro and everything.
Oh, man. Kind of high shorts like I have on right now?
No. At least a testicle could fall out of his. But,
one might fall out of mine. You don't know.
You never know. This new day and age, you never know. Last time I saw you do this podcast was April. You never know.
Things change.
They do. So this girl, so he was a gym teacher. We're in this math class, and this girl was putting on her makeup, and she got caught by a teacher, and she's told her, stop, you need to put that away, stop doing that. And I just said out of nowhere, I was like, well, that's because she's getting prepared for Mr. Sankey. And the whole class laughed, the teacher laughed, and she's like, all right, we don't hear ever much from you. She's like, gonna let that pass. And I realized that moment in time that if you're funny enough and it works, you can get away with anything.
Pretty much.
And that taught me that point right there. So that was my first joke.
You can get away with a lot if you can crack a good joke at the right time.
My first constructed joke would have been, I forget, was it 2000 or 2001? I remember George W. Bush choked on a Roll pretzel.
Choking like me right now?
Yeah. And Secret Service had to save him and give him the Heimlich. So my first very constructed joke, I remember I wrote this and I said it to my friends at lunch period. A or B. Anyone remembers this? But anyways, so I said that what if George Bush died that day? You learn about all the presidents that died in office. You have Abraham Lincoln assassinated, JFK assassinated,
going out like a baller.
George W. Bush pretzeled.
Aspirated a pretzel.
That was my first constructed joke back then. I was
That's
like, God,
great.
that was 9th, 10th grade or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And then senior year, I don't know if you remember, where did you go for high school? Was it Altoona or where did you go?
I was homeschooled.
You were homeschooled?
Yeah.
Oh man, your reunions were lame.
I know, right? It's just me. Oh my.
And a ball punching your kitty cats.
Yeah, right?
They're friskies.
Pretty much. Just me and the cats, although all my high school classmates, they're all dead. They were the household pets.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Got too dark?
Well, no.
Just dark enough?
Just dark enough. Oh my goodness. Jeez. But anyways, so my senior year, there's these pamphlets of like why you shouldn't smoke weed, why you shouldn't do alcohol or drugs like that. So I took these pamphlets and I did like ad-libs in them like that. I wrote all kinds of funny. I still have them this day like that. They were supposed to be in this special, but for time reasons, I just couldn't fill it in. But I have all this funny stuff I wrote. And it went around. People started sharing it. And I thought it was, and then teachers started asking, like, where did this come from?
Who wrote that?
He wrote these.
No!
And it was like a week to graduation. And I was like, so I confiscated them all.
Did you get in trouble?
No, thank God nobody ratted me out. I still have them. They're hilarious.
Yeah,
anyone's ever seen them? Like all the ad libs I did. Like I forgot what's the one about. Like whenever it was a fire one. And it had about how like if you're in a fire like that, it's good to drink first and then stop, drop, and roll. That always works.
That's pretty good. Pretty good advice.
I'm not saying these are funny. I'm just saying this was senior year.
That was yeah.
But anyway, so that's where it really began. Is at my grandparents' house. Like I would always on my mom's side. I would always go to their house. I would always be riffing jokes. I'd be doing voice impersonations and making them laugh. And that's where like the love of like I can make people laugh and feel good came from.
Yep. Usually it was a coping mechanism for me, or a well-placed sarcastic. I mean, it's really hard to imagine me throwing in any sarcastic comments in any situation that I find annoying.
Never. I never once ever heard it.
Mm-mm. You never see me flinging an insult at anyone. I'm so nice.
You're a lame duck.
Oh, yeah, I'm the worst. Yeah, no. I think more of my humor came out, because, I mean, this is probably hard for you to believe, too. Humor is not encouraged in women. What's encouraged
What?
That's really hard for you to understand, isn't it?
Oh my god.
Because of your male privilege.
White male privilege. As a straight white male, this is just confounding to me right now. It's so, oh my god. Annette.
I don't know. There's just something about women and comedy. It's just it's not encouraged for some reason. I can't imagine why.
No, there's nothing to do with that. Nothing.
No.
Mm. It will remain a mystery.
So I never really would have ever considered getting on a stage and doing any kind of open mic stuff. But then I just sort of hit the F it button in around the time I got divorced, and I would go out and I would drink a lot, and I would just say like the funniest, most unhinged shit. Like there was one that I'm working on a bit with it too, and I was like, oh well, my husband may rest in peace, and someone's like, oh my god, did he die? And I'm like, no, we got divorced. Same difference. I just wish he was dead. No, that's a joke. But that was my humor that was developed that I was just more willing to put out there at the time. So I just spent that time just drinking a lot. My blood type was Miller Lite for about a year and a half. So at least I went with the light beer.
We're going to need a tapper. All right, guys.
Yeah, whenever I would go and get my blood work done at UPMC, they would just have a keg there and just transfer.
We need this for the sheets by out in the hospital.
Stat. It didn't occur to me at any point in my life that there was a problem with me having at least 1 or 2 shots of snake bites.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I can't do that anymore. I would die. Yeah, my liver is deteriorated. Not to the point that I'm like yellow or jaundiced or anything, but just to the point that I can't drink like that anymore.
Damn.
Youth. No.
Yeah, I don't. Like I told you, I'm on this medicine for my stomach stuff and everything, and I can't drink. And I'm not a drinker. I don't care to drink.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's that immature child in me is like, you tell me I can't, but I want to. But at the same time, I don't drink. So it's like, what the heck?
Is that also a comedian proclivity? Because the second someone tells me to not do something, I want to do it.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's the thing I want to do now.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that, well, now I want to say it. You can't do that, well, now I want to do it.
I get that. When people tell me I shouldn't do something, or don't call me that, I'm just like, I'm going to call you that in a few minutes somewhere. I'm going to sneak this in somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
For instance,
I'm so sorry, I'm dying. I don't know what's happening.
It's okay. I'll let your cats eat you.
Okay, yeah, just prop me up right over by the bowls where they're used to finding food.
I have a horrible joke about this. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Instead of kibbles and bits, it'll be kibbles and tits. All right, anyways.
Too much laughing. All right.
Continue. I was going to say one of the things I remember, this is going back to 2012, a friend of ours, mutual friend, we went to their friend's house who had an open house. They had a brand new house, got made, and we're all talking, and she was like, I just hate when people say that's gay. And I'm like, I know, that's gay. and everyone started laughing, she stone cold stared at me, and my wife just looks at me, and we talked later, and she's like, you just never can't help yourself. I was like, no, I can't. I just have to poke and poke.
Our comedians, do we have a little bit of that oppositional defiant characteristic? But I guess we kind of have to.
Well, then that explains my second son.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know what it is. As soon as someone tells me don't do that, now I want to do it. Are all comedians like that? Because I've never met a comedian that doesn't have a little bit of that. I'll show you.
I don't know. I guess we never grew up in a sense. I don't know. I still find it's great that I had 2 boys, because I'll tell you what, it's fun doing fart and poop and pee jokes all the time.
My dad did that with me. I think he wanted me to be a boy.
This haircut's gonna be great for you. Trust me, no one's gonna say anything. Put on those gloves, mate.
I was such a tomboy. Oh, you tried to put me in a dress and I cried and I threw it across the room.
I know.
I'm like, no way.
My dad put me in a dress and I cried.
Oh my god, this podcast might kill me. Alright, okay, so, now you guys know, all comedians, Tim Dillon, Joe Rogan, all of them, Ari Shaffir, on some level there is something with the humor that we have that rebellious, we have that weird way of looking at things. It just is what it is. I don't know anyone who is normal that's a comedian.
What was that? Was it 3rd, 2nd? I think it is 2nd grade. I don't. It'd be too deep in my phone to show you right now for this pod. But there's a picture we found scrolling through. My mom gave me all she's going through and getting all my old stuff from school and everything. And I'm not keeping any of it, but the one I did keep, because I was scrolling through my old notebook and talking about dark humor. It was during Thanksgiving time, and I think it was 92 or something like that. And in my little school book, I didn't like the fact that hunters, pilgrims, were killing turkeys. Yeah. So instead, in this picture, I have a pilgrim mutilated by a turkey holding a gun, and I have it saying "Gotcha." Gotcha. And this is 2nd grade. So yeah, it started way back when. Yeah.
Humble beginnings.
I look at that, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Did your family look at that? Did they have any reaction, or were they just like, that's funny?
They never said a word to me about it. I even asked her, she goes, you're just drawing. I'm like, oh, I guess that was normal for me, I guess.
Some parents just really guess it's fine. They're a little, but, as long as they're not hurting anyone.
Yeah, he just doesn't like those pilgrims.
Can you blame them?
Well, know what we know now, but in 2nd grade I didn't know those truths. It was just a deep embedded gut instinct. My inner Cherokee came out.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Uh,
So you ended up on the 13th. It's always funny, the date that you don't want for a special, you won't do this, and you end up doing it. The thing I would never, and it's always like you spoke something over yourself, like you just spoke a curse on yourself. So
I'm also too a huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies with Jason.
Really?
So like that's where it all started. I was like to my wife jokingly, it's like, oh, we just put it on Friday the 13th. What day is that this year? She's September. I'm like, that's enough times for me to gather this special up, put it together, and then film then. And then it's like, well, we can't do it. But then we could do it now.
yeah.
And I was like, so all right. And then again, like 13 years of doing comedy. It's like, I don't know. I don't consider that a bad number. I like Halloween. So
Isn't it funny? Have you seen, is it all hospitals, but also UPMC, they don't have the number 13?
yeah, it's just that there is a 13.
And it's
there
still
really
a 13.
is.
It doesn't matter. And they make it a 14. I'm like, it's
12,
still
14. It just looks like you can't count.
It's still 13.
It's still
I'm
at the 13th floor.
I'm like, how do I trust a medical establishment to make rational decisions based on science about my health, which they might have to do shortly after this podcast?
Well, it's really, we can go up
Just
here.
walk. There's always a joke.
Roll you out. After this, I'll roll you into the ER.
Yeah.
And then we'll just leave you.
How do I expect them to make rational decisions based on science about my health when they won't even put the number 13 for the floor name?
What happens to the 13th patient of the day?
They probably just named them the 14th.
True.
And then,
14.
and then what's worse is the 14th floor is where terminal patients go to be cared for.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Oh, wow.
So they made it even worse. I have no clue why this is happening.
It's okay.
I might be going to that floor after this podcast. Or in the midst of it.
She's dying. It's okay.
Holy crap, this is irritating.
You know what? It's what she would have wanted. I think someone on her has a DNR card. So.
Yeah. So this is really irritating.
You propel.
Yeah, I have I need to propel myself out of this coughing fit. What the hell?
But no.
So what else is involved in the process? So now you have the venue, the date, and you also have
Mind Over Media is going to be the one filming for me. I got
perfect. They do great work.
They did really great work.
Yeah.
So I was sold. I saw some of their clips, and I was sold in the production quality, and met with them. Talked for a good while. And everything.
Good.
So we went over everything. Once I got the venue and I got the filming crew all done and out of the way, like a sigh of relief, just like went over, like this over and everything like that. Just really focusing on the jokes, which that's done now. Like I really finished that back in June. I was really done in June with everything. And so I met like I told you, I met with my producer, and we went over everything. So now I'm just in the memorization phase. I'm gonna memorize stuff. My best thing is my closer, which obviously I'm not gonna reveal here.
No, absolutely not.
My closer, like I have people in tears in my closer. Like the whole entire special, like all of these a lot of laughs, but that closer is the strongest thing I have, and it's amazing. It's based on a true story. So yeah.
And go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go.
Oh, and like, what span of the work that you've done are you talking? Like the whole span of 7th grade or the past 13 years? Like, what would you? Did you focus it on something more recent?
There was a fly going around.
It just flew right in my mouth.
She is dying.
What the hell? Oh my god! If you guys made a drinking game out of this podcast, I would not recommend it for the
How many times she coughed? If you take a drink of Jägermeister. Please drink responsibly. It's not our fault if you do anything stupid.
It's a joke. It's a joke. With comedians, it's a joke. I mean, I went a little dormant over the summer, but anyway. So which span is this? Is it...
I started in... I don't think I told this in the last pod. I told I almost died in July 2010, so I don't know.
You did tell about that story.
I started in May 2011 doing comedy. So I reached back as far as I could possibly go.
Oh, wow.
From 2011. I wrote all a bunch of new stuff. I wanted to see, because basically before, anyone ever saw me before, let me say this. No one's ever seen me like this. No one's ever seen me like this. This is brand new. Everyone's ever seen me before. It's been like that one-liner guy, with random thoughts, random things. Nothing's pieced together. It's just all over the place. That's how people see me for the longest time. But the past few years, I have been performing in this town, and I've been outside this town, and probably since 2021, everything's very linear. If there's a theme about family, there's a big chunk about family.
Oh.
There's a theme. It's not like how it was before, so that's very different. So I understand,
Okay.
like, people in this town be like, well, I've seen him. He's just that one-liner guy. It's like, no, it's very, very different anymore.
Ooh,
very different.
That's going to be cool.
So I decided, well, where are all the themes at of jokes, of random jokes? And I called them all together, and I didn't do all of them because I have, like, binders of handwritten notes. Even I'm like, I can't read this. This is horrible.
This doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So I tried my best to decipher, but I wasn't going to spend, if I could, I'd probably spend months just trying to decipher.
Yeah.
I have 12 binders this thick of jokes. And then I have notebooks. And then I have stuff I've emailed to myself. And then I have stuff on napkins. And then I have stuff in my phone. Like that. So I have everything.
Oh my god.
So I have way more I needed. So I called all the things that what I wanted, I chose to talk about for this special. I called it all together, found all the random jokes. Where can I piece it all together to where it seems like it's one coherent thing?
Okay.
And then I wrote new from there. I have way more than I needed, so I've been cutting a lot of stuff. One of my fun bit was about tattoos, and I'm just not doing that this year for this special because I have probably a good 3 minutes of tattoo material, but there's just some more jokes I want to say before I put this bit to bed. So not everything's going to make it to this special that I wanted to talk about.
Ugh. That's the thing that I'm finding in my comedy journey. I wasn't quite on a year yet last time we had an episode, and I had a couple things in my life that shifted, work shifted, life circumstances, relationships, and Richard McGarvey, he had me just being a local opener with Mark Riccadonna and the 2 other comedians that they had. And I talked, maybe you can tell me what this is, me and my comedic journey. I hit a point where my life was just a little different, and I'm like, am I not funny anymore? Because the jokes that I had written before felt different.
Let me phrase it to you this way. When I first started, the first maybe 2 or 3 sets, like, I was just crushing it.
Yeah.
And then after a little bit, it all came to a stop. Why aren't the jokes working?
Oh, it's
Why
not just me then.
No, it all just like hit a brick wall. And it took years to figure out how to get over that hump, where to go.
Okay.
I think it's because, I was talk about my experience, is I think it became a novelty act.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, this is so cheesy to say, but like, I view my stuff as like punk rock comedy. Oh God, this is good.
That's your stuff. Mine's like
this is gonna haunt me. But because it's that I don't give a shit attitude.
Yeah.
Like if you've heard my stuff, I'll say whatever.
Oh yeah.
Well, the last McGarvey's, like, no one wanted to touch the political jokes. I touched them.
Yeah.
I did them.
Yep.
They didn't work, and I didn't care.
Yeah, you just did it anyway.
I just did it anyways.
That's why you get along so well with the punks like Jesse and Kevin.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll say whatever. I love punk rock anyways. I grew up on that stuff. I still listen to it this day. I just like that attitude. That's why, like, when Norm Macdonald died, I didn't know it would hit me as hard as it did.
Yeah.
And like, it just because he had that rebellious, I don't care. I'm gonna say whatever. You're not talking about it, so I'm gonna talk about it.
Yep.
And I just
or you're telling us not to talk about it.
Yeah. So I just always had that in me. So like, I don't know. Anyways, I was getting over that brick wall and figuring out, how do I still make this work? And I went through such a crazy transitional phase. Because I used to be, you see me on stage, I'm very to the word.
Yeah.
Right? My earlier stuff, I was physical comedy.
Yeah.
I was doing voices. I was on the ground. I was doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I was all over the place.
Wow.
It's very different. Very different from what it was.
That doesn't sound like how I've seen your comedy at all now.
No.
Than what I'm familiar with.
No. Let's put it this way. I'm trying to find not for this special, but maybe in a future special, kind of slowly get my way back to that, but still doing what everyone knows I do. But it's just hard to, like, I just got some bad advice from people, but like, don't act like that, don't do that, don't do this, and that, and then it starts, the people have way more years on me, so I felt like they were more impressionable, and it started to sink in, and I just, like, started getting lost and everything. So, like, I know that times you've asked me about certain things, I don't want to do that to you. I want to be vague. Like, you figure it out. But I'll give you like a little nudge. This
is the part of that journey.
This is the journey. Here's that piece. Here's that, and and you figure it out. I don't want anyone to twist your brain, twist your mind like that, and get lost. Like, it sucked. crawling out from that
Oof.
and everything. And then and it goes in waves because I started doing like really dark jokes.
Yeah.
Really offensively dark jokes. And it started working for me. I was like, oh, I found myself again.
Oh.
And then hit a wall again.
Okay, so those walls are just normal?
Normal.
Because I'm just a year in, so I'm like still a baby.
It's the process of... I think the audience is smarter than you and take them credit for it. I think they can tell when you're not being authentically you.
Yeah.
Like that. And when you're not authentically you, and you're just being a smorgasbord of people you enjoy and like,
yeah.
and they sense that. Like that. So when you start working on you and becoming you, like that, that's where it will start working better for you.
And I felt...
And sorry, you're like coughing. I'm rubbing my nose like I just had cocaine.
No, it's fine.
Like it's like I have this itch from your cat, and I know it's somewhere here.
No, it's okay.
And I can't get it off.
No, it's okay. I'm over here hacking up a lung. I might have to. Yeah. Oh, it's fine. I'm over here hacking up a lung. I would if I criticized you over that. There's nothing. Do you need a tissue or something?
No. I just feel it. I just know it's somewhere on me.
Okay, let me know if you need a tissue. I'll grab you one.
No,
I took a little bit of a summer hiatus, and I'm going to come back fresh because I was putting a lot of pressure on comedy stuff, and I'm like, I'm just maybe not in a point where... I know you shouldn't wait for inspiration, but I'm like, okay, I've been doing open mic stuff for a year. Maybe this stuff I should not be putting so much pressure, and I'm focusing more on music. People ask me, are you going to do some jokes? And I'm like, eh. I was having a little bit of an issue because someone had also told me that I wasn't funny. And it was on a time where I wasn't feeling good and it hurt my feelings.
Gotcha.
And
I've had that.
Okay, so
I
pulled a girl move and I cried about it. Like...
I had a veteran comedian, not like a veteran in the sense of like they're on Netflix or anything like that, but like somebody's done it for like since the 90s and it's someone in Pittsburgh. But anyways, he wrote to me, he goes, your wit is stale. He's like, your wit is stale and you're slow. And I wrote back, so you're saying I'm funny? So that was my way of like, I'm getting past this guy who just he just didn't like me.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. So
I had that, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, okay, there's more negative feelings. Again, not that it should be focused on feelings, but if I didn't have a comedy event thing coming up, I'm like, let me just focus on music. I have more music stuff coming up right now. Then I saw Ridge's comedy open mics, and now I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. I had a little bit enough feeling association with it. Because, I mean, we put a lot of ourselves into any performing work we do.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I really identified with being a comedian and making everyone laugh. And I'm like, and someone told me I'm not funny. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was just, I don't know, whatever it was. But still, I received it at a time where I was feeling sensitive that I wasn't funny. So I'm like, okay, I need to take a little bit of a breather, so I'm going to be planning on coming back to it. And it's nice that the comedy, our podcast here, fell at that same time. So I'm like, okay, come back to it, take a break, but don't quit. And I mean, that happens with martial arts, any kind of art form. I feel like life happens, and you can step back, but don't quit.
No, I agree. But there's it's hard to like. You have to definitely get thick skin. You have to like understand people aren't gonna like you, and there are people who are gonna tell you you suck, like that. Like even when like me and my wife had talked, like even when this special comes out, even if the night of filming everything goes amazingly well and it's very showcased through the production and it goes on, there are gonna be people who are like, this guy sucks.
Oh, some people are gonna put a 1-star review just to be dicks.
Yeah, they're gonna say, and that's comedy is subjective to their own opinion. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me. Don't follow me. Don't do anything.
Yeah. And I think I needed to go through a period of that where I didn't realize I thought I had gotten tougher, and then a couple people were saying a whole bunch of things that were critical of me all around the same time, that someone said, oh, it would help if you're funny, you're not funny. And I'm like, I'm not even funny. And I just did the ugly snot crying, and I knocked out a ball. And I'm like, I'm not funny. And I was like, and then this now even is funny the way looking back at it. And I'm like, all right, you know what? And then I started going on a rant while I was drunk. I wrote a couple things down. I'm like, I'm not funny. So
there's a saying, and towards the end of my special, before my closer, it's a part of something that's happened, and I don't care if I say it here because it's not really ruining anything. Cause if you look online, I've had the joke somewhere out there, so I'm not ruining this. But there's a saying. I don't know if you ever heard it. Pain plus time equals comedy.
Yeah, really, that's true.
So like, you know. I say that, and I say something that did happen to me and everything, and like, I feel like sometimes you just have to take a break. You gotta take a break, and then you can come back objectively, look at things through a different lens, not take things so personal.
Yep.
And like, okay, well, that's not one person's opinion, and it may be. Put it this way, one person explained to me one time, you could have surrounded by 10 people, and 9 of them hate you, but one person says you're funny. You have one fan, and it starts with one person, because next time you're going to do something, they're going to bring their friend who thinks you're funny, and then it just starts growing from there. It has to start somewhere.
Yeah. And you're not you. You're not using your own authentic voice if everyone thinks you're funny.
No.
You're sacrificing something that's you. Is there anyone that everybody objectively thinks is funny, even like a fictional character? Anyone? I'm thinking maybe Jim Carrey, The Mask, was the closest back then.
No, I seen people who like hate Jim Carrey.
Okay.
I talked to these people.
Because I wondered, because I thought whenever I was in the 90s and looking back, I thought everybody found him to be funny because he was so sensational. But, see? Point proven.
There's people who don't. There's people who hate Will Ferrell, people who hate Adam Sandler. And like, so, I know a lot of people who hate Will Ferrell. A lot.
He's a little bit of a shtick, like he just kind of does the same character, which is fine. I think
I like him actually. Yeah. It doesn't bother me, and I think I'm unfortunately at that age where I just want things to be the same.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that he used to do, if he still keeps doing it, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you made me think of somebody else. Who was it? Crap. It was Will Ferrell. There was somebody else. Oh, shoot. It's one of the things that it came in you and it just leaves you.
Not like Jim Gaffigan? Or
No. It was... Shoot. I don't remember. Will Ferrell was very impersonal on me because I just liked... I saw him... First time? I saw him Old School, and then I saw him in Elf, and then Anchorman, and I was set. And my wife got me tickets in 2007 when she was still up at Penn State main campus. It was the Funny or Die tour.
Okay, that was...
And it was at the Price Jordan Center in January or February 2007. And I didn't know these people at the time, and I wish it was still funny, but I wish the comedy nerd I am now, I wasn't a comedy nerd back then.
Yeah.
So there was Zach Galifianakis was the closer.
Yeah.
Dimitri Martin was on there. Nick Swartzen, and then Will Ferrell came out dressed as Ron Burgundy and screwed around with people. And I was like, that's like a comedy lineup of classic people. And I just, at the time, I even knew who Zach Galifianakis was. And I was like, this is a weird guy.
Now, do you think, how do you integrate? So, obviously, our comedy changes. In our delivery and the material we focus on, it does change as we go through different... Because I guess that would be weird if I was the same person I was a year ago and my comedy was hitting and the material felt the same to me, right?
There's always that I've heard other comedians say that if you don't it's something you created a year ago, you didn't grow.
Oh, good! Yay! Because I look back at some of my jokes, I'm like, I was just being a bitch with that line. That wasn't even funny. And I guess that's good to be able to look back. What did you do then if you're drawing from quite a number of years of your activity and your public work?
So it's stuff that has worked no matter what room I've ever been in.
Really? Okay.
And that's the stuff that got pulled into the special.
Good.
So I did that stuff. I know it crushed anywhere I went. And it was a great basis. And there's also called buffering. So buffering is basically, this joke works, and you also know this joke works, and they're the same topic. So then, if you have a joke you're not sure about, but maybe sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you buffer it in the middle. So you have strong, maybe hopefully this goes really well too. But if you're not sure, then you got the next joke that's really strong afterwards. You just do the buffering effect, like that, just to cover yourself. I learned that a few years ago, 2016, from a friend of mine, who's done it way more than I have, like that, and he's talked to you tried the buffering effect? I'm like, no.
See, I do that. I didn't use a buffering effect. Is that a term that everybody uses?
I don't know. Or maybe something he created and he just told me. I'm not created. Everyone knows that's what you do, but as far as the word goes, maybe something he just says.
I say a pivot, because if I'm doing new material and everyone's looking at me and going, coughing like I am, and I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm losing them, I'll switch to something I know everybody will laugh at across the board. So I call it a pivot. Just have that safe joke you can go back to that's going to get everybody back on your side. Pivot! Like Friends.
That was an interesting thing you say that, because all these open mics that I've done with you and done with other people, because I'm gearing for the special, I'm not pivoting because I have to know.
You have to know if it works.
So I have to just I know you hate this, but you're going to listen to it. And at the last open mic, I was ready. I told my wife about this. I said I was going to be done, and you said to be waving the white flag already.
Yeah.
And then I went on, and actually the second half was better than the first half.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that, because I was going to be like, oh,
I did
screw it. I'm done.
Yeah, because,
I don't want.
yeah, and that's something that sucks too. It's so demoralizing when people don't give you that feedback on a joke, and you're not sure because your friend might have laughed at it, you might have laughed at it yourself, and you're like, this is going to hit. It works on paper. You get in front of people, and they're like,
thanks for wasting our night out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what people don't understand. Comedy lives in real life. It's not like art. It's not like practicing something at home. The cats can't laugh, okay? Actually, I should write
Lord knows they've tried.
I should write that down. Yeah, God, the cats laughed at that one. I'm like, what am I saying?
That joke was meow. Sorry. All right. Anyways, another thing. Someday, some people will come back to this podcast, and they're gonna crop out the meow thing I just did, and they're gonna crop out, he said punk rock comedy! And they're gonna say, and it's gonna be tied to me forever now.
No.
But anyways, no, you're right. Like, when you're doing an open mic, I think people have this expectation, I think, that, like, it's worked out. Mm-hmm. It's not worked out. I try to gather what I think might be working, but you tell me if it sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And also, too, just because I try to hear and it sucked, well, maybe you were just maybe not the right crowd for it. So then I go to a different venue, and does it still suck there? I do the rule of threes.
Yeah.
So I'll do 3 different venues with the same jokes, and if all 3 sucked,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is not working.
Okay.
And now, but then it, obviously it's very easy when it works for all 3 venues, but then it's weird when it becomes 2 out of the 3 worked. Okay.
Then you go, so it's a risk.
So why didn't it work at that one? Like that. And then that comes into actual live comedy shows where people paid to be there to see live comedy. Because at open mics, let's be honest, around here it's musicians.
Yeah.
And everything. No, honestly, that people see me randomly. I do play guitar, and maybe I'll bust it out one of these days instead of doing comedy. And then I could just be a schmuck like the rest of you guys.
You know what? I think it's time to cough again.
But,
come here, kitty. I gotta breathe in your fur.
But yeah, so the paid comedy shows is where you really can figure out, like, all right, does this work?
Yeah.
Is this really working?
Yeah.
Like that. And sometimes, like, the night before I do a show, things will start flowing, and I start ad-libbing, because I practice myself out loud. Because when you practice out loud,
you have to do that.
You start, like, realizing, is it flowing right?
Yeah.
Am I saying the right words? And sometimes you come up with a tag for a joke, and I'm like, oh, shit, that's actually great. Or sometimes you put a better punchline.
And there's something in the moment you imagine someone having a reaction to it, and you're like, well, I'll just add this if they have that reaction. You're like, ooh!
Yeah.
That's happened to me. Yeah.
Write that down. Write that down. So I did a lot of that with for this special, getting everything called together. People will not understand the hours spent behind the scenes to get all this prepared. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not just me showing up on an open mic and taking the hours I spent doing that. It's the hours, like, at home. Like, any waking moment where I'm not at work or doing things with my family, I am constantly writing. Like, my breaks at work, my lunch breaks at work.
Yeah.
Downtimes we're driving in a car. My wife has been driving everywhere for the past few months because I'm, like, writing. I'm working on things.
You're like driving Miss Daisy.
And then in bed at night, for the last hour before I go to bed, I'm, like, working and thinking everything.
Woo!
And been doing that since January.
Woo!
And I'm very happy and excited to do this special, but also at the same time, I will say, when it's done and it's filmed and it's in the bag, I'm going to be so excited to go back to a nighttime where I read a book,
and not
wind down, my brain's not twirling around trying to think of stuff.
How do you not get burned out? What are some things you do to replenish or...
Not saying I never did get burned out with some of this. Sometimes I just will go to bed that night instead of doing anything. I'll just go to sleep like that early, and I just, like, try again the next day. I try to do... Of course, I say I try when I... Honestly, if you're listening, I'm almost any waking hour that I possibly can, I'm working on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just trying to... I wouldn't say not write so much, but God, I'm sounding like a hypocrite because of what I just said.
Yeah. No, I mean, like...
But
it can get addictive, and you can just go down a rabbit hole into that, like, just constantly.
And to be fair, I've written things that nobody's heard yet, Like, all right, so sometimes I'll say, okay, I know this is the topics I'm using for the special, but my brain went over here for this, so I'm just gonna write about this. And it is, and in a way, it's cheating because like I'm not really taking a break.
Yeah.
But in a sense, from the special I am, because I'm just writing something random.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the special, and I'll store it away for another day, like that.
Yeah.
And do it that way.
That's something that happens to me, because if I start writing one joke, I'm like, well, that would be a good little side shoot, and I should just do this, and I should just do this, and I should just do this, and I'm like, what joke was I even working on? What happened?
And at some point, you just have to have a cutoff. Like, I milked this, and I could milk it more, but is it really to the benefit for everyone else to hear this?
Yep.
Like, I could save it for another time, and they fluff this other part off later on.
Yeah.
You know, it really comes to that. And again, like, cutting the fat with things. You gotta know, too, like, if you have a really strong joke that gets a belly laugh, you never want to put that, like, right up front or in the middle, because anything that follows that, it's not going to work. You're like, well, you just had a better version of this joke earlier.
Ooh.
So you have to, so when you're beating the special, it's the placing. Like, where do these jokes properly go?
Yeah.
And the order. Like, one of my biggest problems, and Rich actually told me about it. He told me, he's like, you always want to go for the belly laughs. He's like, you know, it's okay for like chuckles and medium laughs, right?
Oh, I'm happy when I get those. But that part where I was having a little bit of a lull, and my creative energy was also sapped after playing second piano for Jesus Christ Superstar. My creative energy was just bleh. And then I played for Easter, and I didn't realize how much. I had a really big lesson in you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So that's another reason I backed off. Not even just working on creative stuff, because I'm still doing open mics, I'm still running them, I'm still performing, but I'm like, I need to go do another source, another creative avenue, so I have the energy to at least look at them and not hate every fucking thing that I do, too. Because then I just, like, smother every joke I have.
You talk about not getting burned out. And since you pivoted, you went back to the musical thing.
Yeah.
And started doing that so you can just let the brain rest and relax and then get back to the comedy thing.
That's so, what I'm thinking. I told everyone, I'm like, let me get part of this summer just focusing on music so I don't just, like, completely drown the comedic work and my comedic endeavors. Just, like, I'm going to not put my comedic work in the bathtub until the bubbles stop.
Sorry. As a guy who has kids, I laugh too much hard at that.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
I have a joke about smothering my kids in my special anyways.
Oh, no.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It is a joke. I never would do that. I love them dearly. And I won't reveal the ending piece of it, but I do state that in the special, like, it is a joke.
Oh, I mean...
You guys heard that at the last open mic. I won't say what it is here, but, like...
Okay, yeah.
But the guy walking away, like, walking away after he asked me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I make jokes about current events and stuff, and I've made some pretty risky jokes with some of my friends that are involved in, like, large scale world conflicts and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, am I gonna lose that client? Because it was a very heavy topic and it was having to do with Israel and Palestine. I cracked a joke about, we were talking about burial, and, I was explaining to my friends and whatnot that, if you're an atheist, you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery, blah, blah, blah. So I was talking about that with one of my students over in the Middle East, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can just hang out with all my homies in the Jewish cemetery, and then they can all go be in another section or just have their ashes scattered. And I'm like, they don't understand why it's so important. And I was talking about that, and he's like, well, why would someone be an atheist? And he's also Jewish, so he's like, what kind of hope do you have if that happens? And I'm like, it's not a problem. They just want their ashes scattered, and I'm just going to chill with my Jewish homies. It's no big deal. When you're an atheist, you're just dead anyway, so who cares? And he looked at me, he went, and I'm like, oh God, I'm going to lose this client. And he said, well, what's the reason that they're even an atheist? I'm like, I don't know. In United States culture, it seems cool. And he looks at me, he goes, then stay cool? And I died! He's like, yeah, look at me. And he's like doing these, like, yeah, I'm cool. Look at me. I'm cool. And I just died. I cracked up. And we just started laughing and laughing and laughing. And that was a risky one. But I made a joke about, I'm going to let that go because, man, I don't want to get, like, canceled. Anyway, back to what Rich's advice.
I don't care. I really don't. I'll say anything.
You and I both don't care, but we got to watch. We don't have two people to, like, rein this in. One of us has to think of the ramifications of our actions in jokes.
All right, I won't say it next thing. Anyways,
so Ridge's chuckles. Yeah, I didn't realize chuckles are a win too.
They are a win. They're a win. And you gotta have to expect too, like, because I was talking to my producer today, and we're going over everything, and he's like, "It's gonna be an ebb and flow. You're gonna have the chuckle, you're gonna have the medium laughs, you're gonna have the belly laughs." He said, "Think about it logically. If the whole hour-long special is just nothing but belly laughs, people are gonna get tired and exhausted.
True.
It's too much.
True.
You have to get them to have breathers. So you have a chuckle joke here, then you have a medium laugh joke here, and then you fall with belly laugh, and then you follow up with belly laugh, and then the chuckle, and then it's like it's an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Well, actually, my boyfriend, I suspect, maybe I'm gonna be gracious and say we have different senses of humor. But if I can get him, you know how I told you if I can get my mom to laugh, I know the joke hits.
Yeah.
Same with my boyfriend. If I can get him not to just laugh, getting a laugh out of my mother is easier than him. It's not a laugh, it's not a chortle, it's not a chuckle, it's a chuff. You know what a chuff sounds like, right? From an audience member.
Yeah, okay, now I pictured
you know what I mean?
Now I pictured it now. I was starting to think, yeah.
Yeah, if you get that out of the guy in the back of the room that's just staring at you like this guy ain't funny, if you get that is better than someone in the front row crying.
True.
Like, do you ever have that moment where you're like, I got the chuff?
I just don't like the silent laughers, the ones who like, are you choking? Are you having an asthma attack? Like, what should I do?
I mean, it's always an asthma attack.
I'm laughing. Well, you're supposed to expel a sound. Like, that's why I worry. My wife's like, "You have any worries with the special?" I'm like, "Yeah. What if I get a lot of silent laughers? They're fans, but they're silent laughers." I already told my producer was also the hosting for me the night. He said, I told him, hey, make sure you tell people they need to laugh. They need to laugh loud like that because if there are silent laughers in there, they're gonna fill up the space. I want it to be filled up with the big laughers like that.
I need the big laughers.
You have a nice laugh. I know you have a laugh.
I sound like a horse.
No, you have a contagious laughter. I've heard it. I was like, she needs to come to the taping because...
I'm coming.
You put interested on Facebook. Okay?
Oh, wait, I gotta go freaking see what social media does.
Not right now. You're doing a podcast. Do you know how to run a podcast?
Listen, white males telling a girl, look at that white male again. I'm gonna come on your podcast and tell you how to run it. White male privilege.
I'm gonna say these chairs weren't that particularly comfy to sit in. There was a sale recently at Home Depot with some good chairs.
Oh, good.
There was even a coupon. I don't know if you were aware of that. And where's your home cooked meals? And where's
Back in my day.
I'm glad you took time out of the kitchen to do this podcast.
You gotta stop doing that comedy thing or you'll never get married. I do find it funny that they do show that Midge Maisel does start her comedy routine after she gets divorced in the show.
Well, do you know about Roseanne Barr? Do you ever hear about her real story about her?
No, what's that?
So she lived in a trailer park with their kids and her husband, and obviously they got divorced eventually. But at the time she was with him.
Yeah.
And she started as they got older, obviously you still can do things, but the kids aren't doing as much. So she would fill that void. So she started doing comedy like that. And then being home before the kids got home, like that, and that's where she started. She was that working class or stay-at-home mom, like that, and so that's why a lot of people related. She did the whole "I'm in the kitchen, my husband works the job" and like that, and that so her stuff was relatable to a lot of women, especially because they hear someone who speaks my language and is making fun of it. I relate to it.
Yep. Oh, and I was just trying to think of a good comeback for the chair thing. I wasn't mad, and I'm like, there's something funny here, but I just can't think of it.
It's okay. My brain's been like this all day just because I met with the producer for quite a hours. My brain still hasn't winded down yet.
I'm getting there.
And I'm still like...
Oh, you're like freaking hamster wheel over here. You're like a hamster on crack.
He drank 10 cups of coffee before he met me today. He said, because you're so over... He's like, I need to have that to keep up with you. So he had 10 cups of coffee. I'm like, man, that's a lot.
I'm running on Southerner with hookworm energy right now. Because of the heat. Okay? I'm over here like, it takes 10 seconds to buffer something. I'm the little Apple logo spinny thing. You were saying the joke about the chair. I'm like, something funny.
Did you reset your modem?
No, I'm gonna have to do
You
that.
have to do that.
I'm gonna have to do that.
It's all taking a nap and then get back
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm nap years old, but.
No, it's alright. It's all good. I stopped drinking caffeine back in January.
It doesn't do anything for me. I'm gonna need to snort cocoa beans
It gave me headaches.
or coffee beans.
It gave me tons and tons of headaches. Well, like, you have a black cat here, so at least you have, like, you're representing.
Bella, come here.
Look at that.
Come here.
Bella.
Come on. Teach me the ways of your people. Your naps.
Hey, buddy. Hey.
Can you show me how to take naps? I have to take naps. My boyfriend does not think 30 minutes counts for a nap.
That's true. But wait, hang on. 2-hour naps. Naps are 2 hours.
That's sleeping.
That's a man nap, and you have, I don't know.
Well,
like,
it's you guys' fault I only get
white claw nap. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
See what this, you know what, see this? This is an example. Male privilege tells me how to run my podcast, tells me what to do on my podcast, agrees with my boyfriend. You know, you're going to be running
I agree with one thing with him.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
One thing. Well, as white male privilege goes, it hasn't worked for me yet. I will say that. And maybe I'm just not using it correctly. I should look this up online.
Yeah, I know. What is it?
Because every time I go to...
What is the white male privilege? What do you guys get out of this? You get sunburnt. Is that privilege? Do you get sunburnt?
I get sunburned.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Is that privilege?
Yeah, I passed out. I never had sunspots on my face until it was 2022. We went to the Grosso Park, and I was like, I took a nap.
Yeah.
And I wasn't planning on, like, sleeping as long as I did.
Yeah.
I was out for 2.5 hours, face up.
You fell asleep in the sun?
Yeah, face up. And I woke up, my face was burned, and then after it all healed up, all these sunspots all over my face.
Yeah, was it a nap? How long was it?
It was 2.5 hours. It was a nap.
That's an actual nap.
Yeah.
You know what? Because of all your white male privilege, I don't get to take actual naps because of you men in the world.
Well, that's because you have to clean and cook for us.
Exactly. The joke being I had to hurry up and, like, because I live a bachelorette life, I had to hurry up and clean my house in a mad cleaning frenzy before he came over so he didn't think I'm a slob.
That's okay. I already thought you were.
Your reputation can't get any lower with me.
It literally changes nothing. Nothing.
That was something that's crazy, too. Look at us riffing. Like, I've taken nothing personally. I'm cracking up at everything. I was suddenly getting very sensitive at that point where I was like, okay, I don't know if I was identifying too much with being a comedian, identifying too much with everything having to be funny. So Rich's advice is good that the chuckles are fine. Even
Yeah.
Is it outright even just getting a chuff? We gotta make that
fine.
a word.
I don't know. I have an addiction to wanting to just make constant belly laughs for people.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And I know that's not how a special goes.
Do Rich and I have to stage an intervention for you?
No. My wife and the producer talked to me about it too after I told them what Rich said. And they're like, yeah, duh. I'm like, I know. I was like,
yeah.
I just like to go for that. I even cut to people are going to come to that special on September, Friday the 13th.
Yes.
I did cut out some shock jokes because I realized, if I'm just saying shocking things for shocking things to get you to have a belly laugh, it's different. It doesn't have a purpose like that. So I cut all the shocking jokes out, especially one about Jesus. Anyways.
Those are the best ones.
Oh, I'll tell you off camera the joke. I'm not gonna say here. It's bad, and I was like, even when I wrote it, I was like, oh.
Well, you were there during one of my shocking, but I wasn't on stage. I just responded very quickly to the one that Ridge made.
Yeah.
And I was nervous because anyway, we'll talk about it off camera, off the record.
Yeah.
Sorry for you guys.
So I cut all that stuff out. It's not in there. It's honestly, I would say the first half hour is pretty safe for everybody, honestly, and then I slowly pivot, or you want to say, to darker things, and it gets dirtier.
So,
like that.
So you
I open dirty. Let me rephrase it. I open dirty for the first few jokes, and then I take it back, and I'm pretty much safe, pretty much for the whole entire time, and then it gets to be a little bit darker.
So you love bomb us. Just like a relationship, you show us the best parts, and then you just slowly rip the rug out from under us.
Yeah.
As we go.
Yeah, I reel them in with some dark, dirty jokes right from the get-go. I was hesitant, and then should I open with these?
Yeah.
I'll tell you off stage, but
Okay.
or off stage,
Off stage.
off camera.
Off
I'm
table.
so used to the lingo of. Anyways, I'll tell you off where, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. I'm gonna go right for it. And then if like you don't like it, you can get up and leave. Like I don't want you there if you're not gonna laugh.
Yeah. So is that what those of us who are coming? What would we expect from a taping experience? What is that like? What's the advice? What's the things that you've heard from other comedians? What's the atmosphere you expect? What's the etiquette? What is it?
Basically, like it's gonna run like a show. There will be cameras up. They won't be running until Ridge because Ridge actually paid Minor Media to record his set too.
Oh, nice, good.
So they'll be rolling with him, and they'll stay on with me.
Good.
So the producer, so we'll have pre-music playing. That actually, this is how neurotic I am. The pre-music actually has the themes of the night that I'm going to say in the music.
What?
Yeah.
That's
so
funny.
if you pay attention, you'll hear, when you hear my set, you're like, oh, that song that he played, that fits with what this topic is.
Okay.
But anyways, so then the host will come do 10 to 15, and then he'll announce Ridge. He'll do 10 to 15, and then the host will come back up, and that's where he's going to instruct everybody because there has to be instructions.
There has to be
what to. It's different from a normal show.
That's what I was thinking.
So he has to instruct everybody what to expect. You know, you're going to hear some vulgar stuff eventually at some point. You're going to things that are probably going to push your buttons at some point like that.
Yeah.
This is part of it. Laugh, have a good time, regardless. Don't take any offense to it. And then he's going to instruct some, especially a side angles. Some people are going to be filmed, which I make no bones about that. That's on the Eventbrite ticket and everything I'm posting. The audience there could be filmed and could be used for the taping. Like that.
Is there waivers or things that people have to sign for things like that?
Yeah, we're going to have that together for that. For this, when you come in, you'll just sign a thing.
Okay.
See,
folks, any questions you have? See, it's getting all laid out for
there
you
we go.
here. Uh-huh.
So then after I'm done, my producer or host, he's going to bring me up again. I'm going to do an encore, and that really come in prizes of doing some fun camera angles. I couldn't do, not logically possible, because then I would have him behind me. I want to do that awesome behind shot.
Oh, yeah.
I want one of those. So there'll be a little bit of staging with that. Like, I have some jokes for that moment right there. So at least it'll come off like I am telling a joke right there. So I get the laughs from everybody. So we'll have him do that and do some other fun angles and stuff like that. Experiment with some things. And then I'll release everybody into the wild.
Fun.
And they can go. And then I have post music. And the first post song is Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me.
Yes!
So that's the first song post after the special. It's done.
Perfect.
So
that's going to be great.
And then, I'll just hang around if anyone wants to talk. I'm not having merch like that. I am not at that place where I'm doing merch.
What? You mean you don't want to do a trademark on the shirt that said, I got a chuff?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm not going to have anything. I'm just going to thank everybody for coming. I do have a speech. I'm going to say a quick speech of thankfulness and I'm going to be honest with you. The portion where I say, or I'm thankful for my wife, I have not said it yet without tearing up. So that's probably going to be a private one, not for the audience to hear, because I don't know if I'm going to hold it together.
Aww.
So that's going to probably be separate.
Good.
But, so that's what I expect. Doors open up at 7, and the show starts at 8. Everything.
Perfect.
We'll do our best to get everybody in and everything as quick as possible, get everyone seated. Don't know what else, really. There's BYOB. You can bring your drinks. We'll have drinks supplied and some water and snacks, too, as well for people. So,
awesome. You had me at BYOB. I'm changing it from interested to going.
I saw that. I was like, what the hell? She put interested? Interested? I thought she was going.
I heard BYOB. Now you know how I get. I gotta be able to see. Look. Here we go. Going. There. See. There it is, folks.
Going. All right. Thank you. You can go online. I'll give you the link for this and everything.
Yes.
People can go. You can get tickets on Eventbrite now. While they last. It's actually got quite a bit of tickets so far. I'm not reveal the number right now, but it's 2 months away, so it's going more than I thought it would.
And it's gonna be mine right after we're done here because I heard BYOB. What do you expect from a Lush?
Exactly. There we go. People have been buying in bulk too, which has surprised me.
Ooh.
Like bulk. I had one person bought 8 tickets in bulk. Like,
nice.
It's like, holy cow! I don't know the name. The different name because when you buy from Eventbrite, it'll tell you the name of the person.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize it, but it's 8 tickets. I'm like, holy cow! He's bringing people.
Yay!
So thank you, whoever you are.
So you won't be telling jokes to the chairs.
No,
Yay!
that'd be horrible. That'd be awful.
That would be terrible. You need some energy.
No, I'm very appreciative of this. I know, like, a lot of people don't know me and everything like that, and I understand that.
Honestly, sometimes it's better that way when people don't know my name or they haven't heard anything about me. I'm like, whew.
I like it because I feel like you, the audience, are going to make me earn it. You're going to make me work for it, you make me earn it, and I like that challenge of the underdog.
Good.
Which is one of the songs in the pre-playlist.
Oh.
Spoon's Underdog.
Nice.
But, yeah, so I'm excited about that. I definitely make it everybody's worthwhile that's coming. Like, no one's ever seen me like this, ever. There's no video online. There's no jokes online that fully encapsulate this of me.
Is this your prime is this your prime taping advertising, or is this the debut of your OnlyFans? Nobody's ever seen me like this.
Nobody's ever seen me like this ever. No. In the bear. It's just me, clothed with a bear I'm hugging.
Yeah, just with a teddy bear. Yeah. You're just holding it.
Snuggles. Yeah. Oh, my OnlyFans.
No,
It's just a bunch of me and all these fans around me. My OnlyFans.
My OnlyFans. Just hold your fan up.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I think it's coming back. The inspiration. Yay.
So obviously I'm gonna say thank you to anyone who comes that night, but I was thank you guys now if you buy a ticket here, buy a ticket. Anyway, so
yeah, I've just been mildly publicly humiliated, so I have to buy one now.
Okay. If any one of people who said they're gonna buy a ticket have bought a ticket, I would have done the same right now to all of them.
Look at him.
So.
Well versed in the art of emotional manipulation.
Exactly.
Comedians we're pretty good at that.
I'm going to show you a picture of my children and how they said, please, my daddy has a dream. And I'm going to show it to everybody. And I'm like, you better buy a damn ticket. So.
Oh, no, just picturing your son with the Grogu shirt and the Grogu ears. Please buy tickets to my daddy's show. Oh, God, that would get me. Oh.
You know what? Mark it down. I'm going to do this now as a marketing tactic for the special. I'm going to have them holding a sign, and I'm going to attach the link for the Eventbrite. Here we go.
I could make a joke right now, but I have to save it because it would get me canceled. So we're going to have to talk about that one off camera. Well, I think this seems like a logically natural place to wrap it up. But is there anything else you wanted to mention about the special? Any things you wanted people to know, entice them?
No, just, again, Friday, September 13th is a special. You can go online, Scott Kelley Comedian, and find me on there and go buy the Eventbrite tickets from there. And that's about it, honestly.
All right. Can't wait. Thanks for taking the time out.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me how I should run my podcast. No, I'm kidding. That is not passive-aggressive at all. I'm being funny.
Women are never passive-aggressive.
Ever. No.
Never.
We always say exactly what we're
thinking. I've been married for over 15 years, and I never once have had passive aggressiveness ever. Oh. Never once have experienced it.
Wow.
Never.
Huh.
Strange.
Yeah, it's weird. You must keep her in the kitchen so much. Have her doing the dishes too much.
I do. I text my wife, "Are you in the kitchen making my dinner?"
Well, thank you for listening, folks, and cannot wait to hear how things go with the special. And I mean, maybe you can catch us at open mics around the area.
Usually. I'll be around. Now, when you see me at open mics, this won't be for the special. This will be just screwing around now, moving forward.
Yay! So. This is me just getting my groove back and with comedy.
Stella got her groove back.
Stella! Yeah, Stella! Well, thanks for listening, guys, and hopefully we will have a podcast episode before the taping, but if you are only tuning in for this episode, hope to see you at the taping. So, later, folks. Stay cool.